Good morning, my brothers and sisters. Welcome to episode number 3 in the book of Romans, and this is season 12. Today's title is Meeting God Himself in Romans. And how are we going to do that? We're going to meet God Himself by meeting His actions, because those are His tangible characteristics. So we're going to talk about two things today. We're going to talk about a righteousness of God. That is His essential character. And how are we mere humans, how are we going to access this? Well, we're going to get that by getting the righteousness from God. So those are His essential characteristics that are displayed to us. So this reminds me, back in the tent of meeting when Moses was meeting with God Himself, and he asked God two things. He says, show me your ways. That is, show me your actions, show me your plans, show me your process, show me your particulars. That is, we're going to call that the righteousness from God. And then he also asks more foundationally, but show me your glory. That is, show me your character, show me yourself, show me your characteristics, that your essential elements. And that is the righteousness of God Himself. Ta-da. And this is from Romans chapter 1. We're going to see it today. This is these two verses are known as the theme of Romans. It's Romans summarized in two verses. This is Romans chapter 1, verses 16 and 17. Paul says, "For I am not ashamed of the gospel, for it is the power of God for salvation to everyone who believes, to the Jew first, and also to the Greek. For in it the righteousness of God is revealed, from faith for faith. As it is written, the righteous shall live by faith." So, first of all, let's just talk very briefly about shame. So, Paul says that I am not ashamed, and he's going to say he has this lack of shame as he stands before God. And he is this ambassador and deliverer of the message. He administrates this message. He has been called to be the aroma of godliness to non-believers. In 2 Corinthians chapter 4, he says he's this vessel, he's this jar of clay made out of dirt, but holding a treasure. So that's enough about Paul's shame for this, because I want to talk about what righteousness is. So God has been righteous forever. He was righteous before. He's righteous today on the day that you listen to this podcast, and He's going to be righteous forever. So what is this? That is His perfection. That's His blemish free existence. He's happy with Himself because He is perfect. So imagine this righteousness in like a bucket, and whether God shows us what's inside the bucket or not, that's been up to Him. And today is all about this righteousness, His perfection, being displayed to us. So how are we going to understand this about God, that His bucket is full of righteousness? Well, He's going to have to show it to us, and that is going to be by His actions, by his ways. So when Moses asks, show me your ways, that is, show me your activities, show me this process, specifically this process of salvation. Why do I want to see these actions? Well, the actions are what is going to reveal the character. The actions of God are going to reveal the characteristics of God. The actions or of His ways are going to show us the character of Himself. And specifically, the character that we are talking about today is this righteousness of God. So the righteousness of God is going to generate these actions, and by those actions are going to reveal His character. It's like this little circle that I made, that His character generates His actions, and then those actions are going to reveal His character to us. So what characteristics of God, in other words, how is God going to show us Himself here? Two things: His righteousness and by His power. So His righteousness is this essential element, this foundational possession of himself, but he doesn't keep it in the bucket. He decides to manifest it, to show us. He says, this is who I am. This is God, at least for today. The one thing he wants to show us, tell us about, is his righteousness. And think about this. He never could have shared it if he wanted to, but he decided to be creator and create us and then come down to show us all this. So he's made his righteousness, which is his essential element that he had forever. He decided to make it public. He decided to make it known and appreciated it. So this righteousness from God is the gospel. The gospel is his actions and his intentions towards us. And his goodness, the goodness of God's character, generates the goodness of these actions. And it's by those actions, that is the gospel, that we then understand, oh, wow, God is good. So a couple things God wants us to know right as we start out of the book of Romans. He says, I'm not ashamed of the gospel, for it is the power of God. Hey, we're at war. We're in a conflict of ideas and strongholds and bondage and captives. And the gospel, to be effective, is going to have to knock some stuff down. So first thing he says is, hey, I am powerful, and this is going to be revealed to you. Secondly, is we can access this stuff. We access it by faith, and Romans is going to take 16 chapters to describe that. So the good news is, hey, you guys can be saved. That is, the power and the goodness and the righteousness of God is being displayed in this plan called the gospel. And the righteousness of God, his character, is going to be displayed by this righteousness from God that enters down into our world. The bad news in this is that you need to be saved, and that's kind of hard to get around. All right, so in conclusion, today is about meeting God in Romans. And we ask the question, what is God like? What is his character like? Who is he? Well, the thing he wants us to know today is that he is righteous. He is perfect. And how will I know this? Well, he sent a rescue mission that you can access and you can understand. That's called the gospel. And it's powerful, and it reveals the power of God. So we will meet God in his actions. Those actions reveal his character. The actions of the gospel and power are going to knock a few things down and reveal this righteousness to us. So he chooses to show this essential character of himself, his righteousness, by the gospel. And then we're going to get it accessed by faith. That's a long story. All right, so today we're going to meet God himself. He shows us two things today, that he is righteous, that he's powerful. Thanks for listening.